So it is bright and early, middle of April here in 2021, and we are getting started. We have one big project. It's the spring garden beds that we need to get wrapped up, hopefully today if we can. It's just a lot of shoveling of ABC that I'm not looking forward to. We've got to get to pig chores this morning, but before we do, we've got the mulberries here. So these are the Shangri-La mulberries, and Lori was just walking over and she found some ripe mulberries. Where'd you see them, sweetie?
Several.
I see
one right here.
A lot of green ones.
What we got? There's one right there. Two right there.
Man, they hide them well.
Yeah, they do.
Great part about the Shangri-La mulberries with these heavy, large leaves that they have is, especially in the beginning here when they first start to ripen, is they do a really good job of hiding the ripe fruit. But I'm gonna grab one because the sun's not even up yet. Kind of a little baby one, but oh, that is so good. Hey, sweetheart, you want this other one, or am I just gonna eat all these? Oh, do you? Okay, I'm gonna have another one. Maybe we have breakfast out here. I got a good one. Wait a minute. Oh.
Couple.
Yeah, you do have a good one. Go ahead.
Like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of give you guys a quick shot here. Interesting lighting without the sun. But that's the Primark blackberry right there. Check this out. That's really good to see, and we have actual fruit, like serious amounts of fruit here on the Triple Crown, and the Triple Crown's actually putting on strong growth. I'm gonna back up a little bit so you can see this. That's the one that we took from a cutting from the old farm. It's doing really good, and then I was really super excited to see this over here. So this is the Colombian Giant that we actually got this winter. So we got it in as just a little tiny start. It was just a single stick. I'm gonna turn around so you guys can see this one as well. It's putting on a lot of strong growth also. Now the Loch Ness down at the end, that's a totally different story. You can see that Loch Ness, it's alive, it's growing kinda, but not all that well. So the other one's just doing much better. So not sure I'm gonna keep that on the list, but that Colombian Giant's really cool to see that. That may be our third variety of blackberry. It's got fruit on there. We'll see how they do. And it's growing really well, which is fantastic to see. I mean, it's pushing on a lot of growth this week. Okay, we need to go over and get to the pigs. The pigs are back there, they're awake. And this is tough because this is the last week we're gonna have them with us, but we need to, well, it's the last week we're gonna have 4 of them with us, but we're gonna go ahead and get over there and get chores done. So I want to give you guys a shot of the old pig area. We've got a few patches of green that are doing all right, and a few things that are just really kind of starting to come up. Might be hard to pick up on camera here, but we've got a nice few patches of green. It's kind of how this is working out more than anything. We have one definite failure, and that's the alfalfa. The alfalfa came up nice and strong, and then it got hot and it withered away, and it's pretty much died back. We do have some buckwheat that's right up here. The buckwheat's actually doing okay. Definitely not as strong as other things. The daikon, you'll see a little bit patch of it there, is doing all right. The cowpeas are actually doing pretty good. We have quail that are coming through and munching on a lot of these greens, which we knew was gonna happen. Also, probably be pretty easy to pick this up. This first little splotch here is a good amount of corn, a little bit of wheat or barley, whatever the cereal grass was that was in the straw. But probably one of the most exciting things, besides the cowpeas, that was good to see, is this. That was actually the sorghum Sudan grass. So that was really exciting to see that come up. It's almost as tall as the corn already, which is great to see. So definitely know that that will be part of what we're going to be putting on that area there. Hopefully it'll still sprout for us come May. So the Sudan grass doing good, the cowpeas doing good, which is definitely a good sign for us here in the spring in Arizona as far as cover crops are concerned. Those will definitely be on the list going forward. Okay, so a couple other things while we're here on this side before we head over to chickens is we have our oldest 3 piles of pig manure. You'll see those behind me there. And one of the things that I showed the guys last week with Paragraphic is the reason why we use pig manure when it comes to using a compost for the fruit trees in particular, even when it's unfinished. And this is why. Oh, it's still pretty dry. One of the reasons why we really love pig manure, especially with, or unfinished pig manure when it comes to fertilizing the fruit trees, besides the fact that you get all the wonderful nutrients from there, it might be kind of hard to pick up, but we've got worms in here. Wow, you're like on it. We've got lots of worm activity in here. We water this down at least once a day just to make sure we're keeping plenty of moisture in here. And this is obviously our oldest pile, so this has been sitting static here for the last couple months. And you can see fantastic worm activity in there. Obviously, as you get further down into the pile, closer to the ground, there's even more worm activity. So completely full of worms. And of course, what we'll be doing is we'll be taking these worms and this compost and putting it directly into the tree rings around all of the trees here on the farm. So we'll be transplanting all of these worms into those rings where they'll continue to just munch on all of the wood chips as they continue to break down. Girls like to play rough. So there's all the pigs. They were a little rough this morning. So we're gonna heading over to do the chicken chores. And how you feeling about the piggies these days?
Oh, that's sad.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's tough, but it's part of it.
Yeah. I know we always get people asking us, how can you raise the piggies or the chickens? And then, so you get the question more than I do, it seems.
Yeah, how can you, don't you get attached to them, and is the biggest thing. And you do get attached to them, but you also know where your food's coming from, and we got to eat too, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the reality of, you choose to eat meat, and I think, we talk about food security and knowing where your food comes from, and I think the ultimate in food security is raising your own food.
Yeah, growing and raising your own.
Growing and raising your own, which is what we talk about here with you guys all the time, and a lot of you guys do the same. And you know, the reality of eating meat is that came from a living animal, and you got to come to terms with that. So, and right now that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is coming to terms with that, and it's not easy, and we don't like it, but.
Well, it's like what I always tell people is that, you know, since I am going to eat meat, I feel better that way. And this way, at least, yeah, I know where it came from, how it was raised, how it was treated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know, with obviously, it's like you said, we feel better when we do eat meat. We've tried not to, and neither one of us felt good. And you know, it's just one of those things where it's definitely part of our lifestyle, and it helps to fuel the farm. It's part of the income for the farm. But yeah, it's not easy. All right, well, the girls are wanting us to come help them out, so we're gonna go ahead and get chicken chores done because we've got some projects to wrap up today. I just wanted to get down here real quick, give you guys a shot of the ever-bearing mulberries. So now these trees are just completely loaded with fruit. If you look up here, I'm gonna flip the camera around. I don't know for sure whether you're gonna be able to pick it up on camera or not, but these are just completely loaded with fruit. You can see the trees are just beautiful. I mean, I love it here in the morning. It's nice and cool today. It's gonna be like 80, so it's just about perfect. I've got the chickens, or as Daz would say, the chooks, in the background clucking away, and it's just a beautiful morning. So I think I'm gonna sit here and listen to the birds and just stare at these trees for a few minutes. We still haven't finished those beds. One of the things that, well, I mean, we've got the first two just about done and about ready for the bird netting, but got a couple more bricks to fill in, and then this one. But you know, we've got this is truly our peak season, and it's been a long year. Lori and I are like just about at our wits end, and we want to kind of pace ourselves here heading into the rest of spring. But there's a couple things we want to get done. First thing over that way with the chickens is we have the shade cloth that's on the east facing side of the run. Is the top has started to break off, and it's started to get rips and tears in it. I think we made the mistake of pulling it too tight when we put it up there. So we're gonna go ahead and swap that out. Lasted 1.5 years, so I'm kind of torn. I think it's okay. The other side seems to be all right, and that's west facing. But we need to get that replaced, and more importantly over here. What I really want to get done with you guys today is actually in these beds. These are our fall and winter beds. You can see we still have a few things here. Letting a few things go to seed because we'd like them to go ahead and seed themselves. But we have garlic in there that I'm pretty confident is ready to harvest. We'll be curious to see how that looks. But we want to get that done with you guys today too. So we're gonna haul over and see if we can get this netting up. I think the shade cloth did okay. 1.5 years. I think the warranty on it's 3 years. I'm not gonna mess with it. It's not worth it. It's Arizona after all. Gonna have to figure out though a more permanent option as far as giving some shade to the chooks the chickens, the laying hens back there. So, okay, we want to get that garlic harvest done with you guys. Let's go over and take a look at those beds. Remember, we had the sheep that attacked this tree here a couple weeks ago, stripped it of every single leaf and the fruit that was on it. You can see this thing is just coming back so strong. I had a feeling it probably would. This is peak growing season for apple trees here in April in Arizona. So to see it spring back like this, no pun intended, it's really good to see. Okay, so we need to get to the task at hand. That is going to be harvesting the garlic out of these winter beds. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these garlics. Now, these are two of the better looking ones. Definitely had a large variation in how these grew. I think a lot of that had to do with how much shading they got. They did have radishes on either side, flanking sides of the front and the back of the bed. So I know that definitely affected the growth. They need that full sun. We did plant them, I believe it was October, and here we are in the middle of April. So definitely should be ready to go. So you can usually tell by these scapes that they're about ready to go. Sometimes the whole plant will fall over and you have a hard neck and a soft neck, I think is the terminology. These are obviously hard neck garlics because they're still vertical or erect now that I'm pretty confident they're ripe. Timing wise we should be, but what happens is you start to see additional scapes growing out, and you know you're starting to get, so at least in our experience, you're starting to get more cloves, little tiny cloves multiplying down there. We don't want that to happen. So as far as I can tell, I think we should be good. So one of the things you might be noticing as we're pulling these is the ground is a little dry. We didn't water this morning. I think we did water lightly last night, but you don't want to water immediately before trying to pull these up. It does make it a little more difficult to get the dirt out from in between all of the roots. And you can see I'm just kind of slightly pulling up. We talked about this soil, and obviously we have a lot of work to do to build the soil microbiology and the overall soil health. But one of the things we talked about with this soil that we got from Pioneer is the fact that you have a very good base or texture in your soil to start out with. So that base that we're forming is good, and you can tell because this happens. I'm able to lightly pull, shake as I'm pulling so I'm not making a gigantic hole. And then as I go, you'll see this here comes right out. And then I've got some dirt here that's down in the middle. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly tease that out because I don't want to break these roots off. We'll talk about that in a sec because we have to cure this garlic. So I want those roots on there, but I don't want dirt. All right, so here's the garlic harvest. Definitely not how it was on the old farm. I know part of that's the soil, but also I think it was the garlic. We got these, they were really small garlics. They were organic, but they were really small to begin with. So not surprised that we have some really small ones and some that are okay. So we got this one here. I've got multiple heads. It looks really good. And a couple of others that are very similar. And then I have a few that are basically, immediate use. We'll just put it that way. But they're basically just a larger single clove because they didn't get a chance to really establish. So you saw that we rinsed off some of the dirt. Now there's probably some controversy over that. Most people say not to rinse that, but here in Arizona, you know, we're 10 to 15% humidity today. It's gonna be about 80 degrees, just beautiful. I'm gonna take these and set them on top of, I'm pretty sure that's Lori's laundry rack. But we're gonna utilize that here today, get them up on there, get some nice sunlight on them, let them dry out really good. And then what we'll do is we'll actually keep these probably in the outbuilding on this rack, and we'll hang them just like this. So we'll tie strings here, and we've got a video where we did a garlic harvest. You guys can take a look at that where we explain it in a little more detail. But we'll basically hang them from this rack here for the next couple of months or so and let these completely dry. What that does is that cures them, so it seals them completely. That's why you want to leave these roots on there, because that helps to make sure that it stays nice and sealed and these can cure completely. So that's our garlic harvest. Definitely gonna go with a different type of garlic, so we won't be saving these cloves going into fall of next year. All right, so we just wrapped up shooting a video for you guys that I think you're gonna really enjoy. I know we did. I'll just leave it at, well, it was harvest, but there's actually something that we have that I really want to get in and try to get up for you guys today. So I think we're gonna call it here really quick, at least for this morning, because I need to see if I can get inside and get this up for you guys. So I think that's gonna about do it for today. We have, I don't know if it's a storm or what, but we've got clouds in the sky, a little breezy again tonight. Beautiful, beautiful evening. Looking forward to this. Really hope that you guys enjoyed the video yesterday. I'm wrapping it up right now. I think I'm gonna be a little bit late on posting. You'll have to forgive me. But we're really excited about being able to get footage like that here on the farm. And it's gonna become so useful as this starts to grow, turn green, and really start to flourish. You guys know, just love having you here. If you have any questions or comments, please do so down below. You guys know, hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you like this type of content, share it with your friends. And I always want to remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. I can't stand up to BB. I can't stand up to Bert. I mean, I don't mind your butt being in the camera, but that's not for this. This is the advantage of having a small man as a husband, sweetheart. I'm like, a 300-pound pig will knock my tail over, but these little chickens. We're starting to get some drooping in the what the heck are those called? I was gonna say scabies, they're not scabies. All right, let's ask. Okay, Google. What is the leaf of a garlic called? There we go. Scapes. I told you, scabies, scapes. Scabies is something we don't want. Scapes are fine, you can eat those. Come here, Bert. Come here, Bert. Oh my goodness. Oh no, oh no. I wanted to say goodbye.